Hi, welcome to Julie's Rich Life. I'm going to review how I did on my December budget. If you haven't watched that budget video, you can still follow along, but I will link it below. And it has been pretty successful. You'll notice that when I budget, a couple things is one, I always pay myself first, so the first of the month. I try to pay as many bills as possible. I can't, there's ones that won't let me move to the first of the month, but anyway, I budget for those bills. They're in my conscious spending plan. And then I immediately, when the paychecks hit the checking accounts, put the money in my emergency funds and in our investment accounts. So I'm paying myself first. I also, if there's any money left over, I do put that in investment savings accounts as well. There's a couple approaches I think you can take to a zero-based budget or a conscious spending plan, and that is just let your budget ride, and at the end of the month you'll see, oh, I spent $40 more in groceries. Oh, but I saved 20 in medical care, and so it balances out. And that's the way I did things a lot early on, when money was tighter, and it just kind of, I'm going to say evolved for me. Not that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm sure that's obvious too. But that style didn't really keep me accountable and keep my spending on track. So what I do now is halfway through the month, and then as the month end is drawing near, I go in and to my app I use for budgeting, and I see where I've spent over on. And then I find what categories I'm spending under on, and I adjust it. So let's say, for example, I went over on groceries, but we had a low gas year, and I do have one electric gas month, and I do have one electric car. But let's say I had extra gas money, then I would adjust my gas budget down and adjust my grocery budget up. And I think part of this is because we do just get paid once a month, and I know it's a long time to budget for. In one way, I really love it because I don't have to, save money from different paychecks for whatever. It's just all there at once. But sometimes it is hard to predict how the month is going to go. A lot can happen in a month. So that's what I do. So I will take you with me as I make those adjustments, and you'll see that I did stick within my budget, but I had to make some changes throughout the month in order to do that. But definitely, total income exceeded total expenses because, like I said, I paid myself first. Hi there, we are halfway through the month, so I'm just going into my budgeting app to make sure I'm on target and see if I need to make any adjustments. So for my fixed expenses, you can see I've transferred money to our property tax savings account. We paid the water bill. That's my estimate for electricity. Haven't paid that bill yet. That's mobile phones, so that's includes mobile phones for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adults plus a business line, and only one of the phones has been paid so far. The rest will get at the end of the month. No garbage payments yet, or landline, or the internet. Gas and oil, we're at $120 left, and I don't know, we might be making a trip of some kind, we'll see, out of town. But just for around town, we have an electric car, so we'll see whether I use all that. Subscriptions. So what happened with subscriptions is there was a Disney Plus subscription that came out that I did not know. I'm not really in charge of subscriptions around here, so I need to figure out, do we really want to keep Disney Plus? But that was for the whole year. And so I need to adjust this, that I should have budgeted that much for subscriptions, but the rest of my subscriptions, I believe, have come out for the month. House cleaning, haven't had that yet. Pet care, I've just had one trip to camp, Good Puppy, to day camp for my dog. He goes once a week. And then medical expenses, that's prescriptions. So I have that remaining. Food, I have $713 left. And again, I do live in a very expensive place for food costs, one of the top in the nation for food expenses. And I'm also feeding my child care, and then I reimburse the food budget from the company. So there's a lot of people being fed in this budget, but that's fine. And guilt-free spending, we have quite a bit left. This is money I need to collect for a game that my husband bought for my son, so we'll take care of that. This business reimbursement, I do try to avoid this, to keep things very separate, but every now and again I end up just buying things for the business and the family together, and then I know that the business owes the family budget that much. So for Christmas gifts, I reimburse from our savings. So this is just a log of what I've bought in December so far that I'll have to pull out of savings to pay for. And then my insurance changed. So that should have actually been not much, right? So we need to make up that money somewhere else. And then my investing numbers, all that money's been transferred already in my public account. We had $4 extra above that. So we need to adjust that budget. So what I'm doing here, instead of looking at the end of the month and saying, oh, I guess we went over budget, I'm adjusting my budget so that we're still within our income amounts. So I'm going to reduce a little bit for gas, because I'm pretty sure we're not going to go out of town. Even if we did, that remainder would be enough. And then also keep food the same, because we'll be having Christmas parties. So I think I can reduce also our flexible spending, and that'll more than make up for being over in my auto insurance and the subscriptions. So this is my second time going in December and adjusting, and I'm not even really sure why exactly I did this, but I invested $125 more in stocks in my brokerage account, which we use the public app for that. So I'm going to have to adjust that somewhere. Okay, we did go over in subscriptions. Now the subscriptions are all various things my husband subscribes to, and some of them are for work, and we'll get to deduct those from his taxes for his work as a middle school teacher. And then, but one was Disney came out as an annual payment, and I did not anticipate. So I'm going to have to go back when I make my future budgets and look at the previous year to really stay on top of these subscriptions. So I'm going to have to find that $132 from somewhere else. And food, we're right down to a week left and $72, but our house is full of leftovers and we've got a lot in the freezer. So I really hope to just buy milk and that'll be fine. Guilt-free spending's looking pretty good, and part of that I think is just coming off a no-buy month. I'm just not in the habit of buying things. It's kind of carrying into the next month, and also just the season of giving. It's just easy to not spend a lot of money. Same with flexible spending, I think. And then we've got
mom and dad, those are things that I bought for my parents that they will pay me back for. And then Nintendo is a one-time expense. We bought a new Nintendo system and I guess subscriptions and games that go with that. So that was, I budgeted $300. That was not enough, and we're not paying for all of it. My adult son is helping with that, but we did go over, so I need to make that up. And then business reimbursement. Sometimes, I know this is a bad habit, sometimes I just get a little lazy and if there's a line at the store, I don't want to break up the expenses into household and then make the cashier run a separate order for my business expense. So I just pay for it all together and then keep track here so that the business can pay our house back. And that $400 for Chase is something I bought for a relative that they paid me back for. And then I still have a little money left in the Christmas budget, so that's always nice. But I have to make up, let's see, a Nintendo plus the subscriptions. Oh, and did I mention I also gave $30 more to one of our charitable giving categories that I need to make up from somewhere else. And then that investing. So that brings us to a total of, ouch, so that is $430.13. I don't know if I can make that up. Let's see. Well, we'll start with trying to make up the subscriptions. So the actual amount I spent so far was three. $9.78. All right, let's see. I'm going to need some gas. Pet care, I can take that down to get $50 because my dog will only be going to camp one more time and he has all the food and treats and everything he needs. So that gives us $50. Okay, so I need to find 82. Okay, medical is a place that I can take that 82.75 out of because we don't have any more subscriptions. I know it seems ridiculous taking money out of, we don't have any more prescriptions. I know it seems absolutely ridiculous to be taking money away from medical expenses to go into subscriptions, but that's just because I overestimated so much. So I'm going to change that budget to $117.25. Okay, so that takes care of those subscriptions. And then we're going to move some of those Nintendo expenses over to my husband's guilt-free spending. I've recalibrated the Nintendo and our subscriptions. Now I just need to find that $30 for Christmas giving. So I think, yeah, what I'll do is put that in this extra Christmas gift since we didn't spend all of our Christmas budget. And then we have $125 for the brokerage overage. So we're gonna have to change this to $349. Find the $125. Where are we gonna find that? Okay, oh yeah, we still have some left in medical that we won't be using right here. And then I could take that, and I'm going to take it out of flexible spending just because it benefits the whole family. But I think that Julie's guilt-free spending is just going to go into savings anyway. Okay, so let's fix these numbers. Okay, so we'll reduce this by 75, 673. Okay, so I've got the public account sorted out. I have some money remaining in my garbage. That goes out the end of the month, and I don't think it will take all of that amount. Might actually need to come up with a little more money for gas and oil. We are going just a couple hours away to visit my in-laws. My stepfather-in-law is in the hospital, but we do have a full tank, so we might not need more than that. And one more visit to Camp Good Puppy for my dog, as we like to call it. And then I think that'll get us, milk, and maybe, I think that's all we'll need is milk. And then we have money left in guilt-free spending, flexible spending. I've got to pay myself back, and still Christmas gifts. So we are done buying Christmas gifts, so that could be a place where we pull gas from if we need more gas. Okay, so it's December 31st, and we actually end our budget month the 30th of December because we get paid on the 31st. So we get paid the last day of the month, which is when our new budget begins. So that might be a little different than how you do it. But let's look at how I did in fixed expenses again. And again, I don't share my income because my husband and I do combine finances, and so I don't share, where the different income comes from. But here are my expenses. So property taxes, nothing remaining. That's how it's supposed to be. Water, water's every other month, but still, it just amazes me how, we pay for water. So that's water and sewer where I live. Electricity I paid, mobile phones been paid. So garbage I had a little left over, and what happened was for years and years I was just using my bank to send an automatic payment to the garbage company. And then every once in a while, things would go up or something, I'd miss it, and I didn't pay the full amount. So I finally decided I should just sign up like I do with everything else through the actual company website. And so I did that, but so I ended up kind of double paying in November. And so my actual garbage amount for just picking up my garbage and recycling was smaller this month. Now, with this category is also for any trips we make to the dump transfer station. It includes that. Also includes I subscribe to Ridwell so that I can recycle all my bags and my plastic films and my, what are they called? Clamshells, which you can't recycle in our regular recycling. And so that's about $30, $26 a month. So that's also in garbage, though. It's recycling. Landline, which I have to have because I have a licensed childcare in my home. Otherwise, we would just have cell phones. And my internet's been paid. Home equity line of credit's been paid. We have $43 left in gas. So I have 2 cars, Toyota Highlander, and then I have a little Nissan Leaf, which is electric, and we use that just for in the city, basically. And then when we go on road trips, we have to use the Highlander, or when we're hauling the boat, we have to use the Highlander. So we didn't go out of town in December at all. So I think we just filled it twice because sometimes, my husband needs one car and I need the other. But so $43 left, so that's great. Subscriptions, I've already talked about why that was so much this month. House cleaning's been paid. Pet care, we had $10 left. And most of that pet care is for Camp Good Puppy, as we call it. Medical expenses, nothing left. I had to borrow from that to pay for subscriptions. All right, food, had $31 left. So that's great. I did buy since the last update, but didn't have to spend it all. And then guilt-free spending. I have money remaining. My husband has money remaining. There's money left in our flexible spending. The mom and dad are items that my mom or dad asked me to buy, and they reimburse me, so I'll get it paid back, or it won't. That's fine too. That one time Nintendo system and everything related to expense. Business reimbursements, I did pay myself back for that. Christmas budget. We had money left from the Christmas budget, so amazing. And part of that is just because there's not a lot of people that we buy for the extended family. Just for the last couple years, draw as a Secret Santa, and we do it that way. And then I have 3 adult children, a son-in-law, and a granddaughter that I buy for individually. And my husband and I just usually, this year we bought each other a painting to go paint kit and did a little date night at home. Yeah, so there's just not a lot of people we have to buy for. And then for my husband's side of the family, we just do a family gift for his sister's family, his dad's family, and his mom's family, their spouses. So that is nice. And then life insurance was paid. Auto insurance was paid. My debt, again, the app I use, I don't have a Chase balance I carry anymore. But my automotive, I don't track this through this app anymore, except how much I actually pay. So I did have a minimum payment of $348 for my car, but we were able to put $11,000 to that. So, now you've seen my whole process for December, and I have money left over. So what I do at the end of the month is whatever money is left in my checking account, my husband and I decide what to do with it. And this month, we're going to put that towards our car loan, because I'm hoping to pay that off by the end of the year. All right, so let's calculate how much I spent in each category. All right, so $6,079.25 for fixed expenses. And stay tuned next month. I'm going to kind of relabel these. They're not really making sense to me anymore how I have these labeled, but that's what I had called fixed expenses this month. And then for guilt-free spending, it was $2,173 on guilt-free spending. And then savings and investing, $3,447. And again, my charitable giving, my giving to place of worship and to charities, and then money that I just help people that I know in my life. I don't share that amount because that's just part of my belief system that you don't, brag or whatever about what you're giving.
All right, thanks for coming along with me to look at my December budget, and I will have my January budget out soon. There are going to be some category changes and some adjustments that'll look quite a bit different than the December budget. All right, so I'm curious, how did your December budgeting go? Do you just stick with your budget, or do you go in and change things throughout the month? Some might call that cheating. I call it adapting. And what categories are challenging for you? I know my categories, what has been challenging has varied a lot throughout my life, and we go through different seasons. It can be easier or harder.